sad and give him thy glory. Great is he has done.
Okay, this entry came from. Guess how old the entrant was?
7 years?
He's 9 years old.
Wow.
Hallelujah, and then another one, and this one.
Charlie, what body not
In 2 minutes. If you can do better,
back to Sunday service.
or you can do as good as this, make sure you get that camera on, record your girl or your boy playing, and who knows, they could go on with 10,000 cities. Let's go into the headline straight.
Front page of the Daily Graphic ahead of voters registration exercise. 6 ready, 3 opposed, 1 undecided. Okay. I will give you details, Bernard. Academic work begins in tertiary institutions. NIA starts mop-up registration on Thursday. Domestic airlines make progress after easing of restrictions.
Now, the Ghanaian Times search for COVID cure. Noguchi poised to develop vaccine. There's a picture of Professor Abraham Kobna Annan on the front page. 1,729 basic schools in Bono East and Ahafo regions undergo disinfections. NPP fulfills 14% 2016 manifesto promises, NDC, but NPP rubbishes the claim. And government gives clearance for recruitment of 8,076 nurses.
Front page of the Daily Guide newspaper. NAM1 sparks outrage over 9 million Ghana cedi payment. 1,729 schools in 3 Bono regions disinfected. Napo hits back at Mahama over varsity bail, and Volkswagen assembles first car in Ghana.
The Finder boost for COVID-19 treatment. Severely ill patients to be treated with convalescent plasma from recovered patients. Blood Service awaits funds to acquire consumables to start. The picture of the CEO of the Blood Service, Dr. Justin Ansah, is on the front page. Disregard NDC's distortion of facts agenda. This is the Minister of Information, Opon Nkrumah. Tertiary schools in Accra gear up for post-COVID-19 reopening, and Health Ministry gets clearance to employ 8,073 health professionals.
That story is on the front page of the Statesman as well, but the big story there for them is NDC manifesto propaganda fails as government exposes lies on fulfilled promises. Also on the front page of the paper, over 10 million Ghanaians within voting age to get Ghana card.
Now, the Chronicle, stop the lies and propaganda, government tells NDC. Land guard activities overwhelm Pram police. And the big story for the Chronicle, Sayo NACOP threatens to sue customs over Aflao cocaine.
Front page of the BNFT is still going with the pharmaceutical industry, Bernard, and they say pharmaceutical suppliers to withdraw service from July 1. GRA beefs up customs staff at port to clear backlogs, and fund managers say we have received only 83 million Ghana cedis out of 1.8 billion Ghana cedis.
Now, the new crusading guide, NAM1, is on the front page. Arrest NAM1, Men's Gold customers demand. CID investigates Republic Bank's board chair. Smear campaign against Ofori Jau launched, but delegates offer unflinching support. This is Ekwapim South NPP primaries.
Let me take you online. A lot of stories. CityNewsroom.com. The lead stories there coming through. Ghana's COVID-19 death figures are being massaged. This is Occupy Ghana suspecting. Also, my officers were not responsible for missing cocaine. NACOC boss. Other stories. Accra Mayor can't be blamed for flooding. This is Oko Vanderpoy. Meanwhile, he says, I'll gladly say yes if Mahama asks me to be running mate. Ghana card registration in Eastern Region to resume on June 18. Now, other stories coming in from yesterday. NPP made 45 promises on economy, but fulfilled only 12. This is NDC. Meanwhile, the MPP says we made 388 promises, not 631, as claimed by the NDC. CityBusinessNews.com. Third virtual forum to focus on agribusiness today. Also, expand COVID support scheme to cover more businesses. Chamber of Commerce to government. And we will not back down on demonstration against Customs Amendment Act. This is the Automobile Dealers Union. MyJournalOnline.com is also doing COVID. There's cause to suspect the death numbers are being massaged according to Occupy Ghana. Meanwhile, Men's Gold customers call for immediate arrest of number 1 and Cath Intensive Care Unit to operate at half capacity. I'm telling you.
What's going on there?
I'll give you the story. Meanwhile, all our prison inmates have tested negative for COVID-19. Ghana News Agency leads with Health Minister discharged, continues treatment at home for COVID-19. Meanwhile, NDC engaged in intellectual dishonesty in assessment of government's achievements. This is upon Chroma. And finalists of tertiary education institutions report to campus today. If you go to Star FM, the lead story there. Lawyer reports Vodafone Ghana to mother company in UK over EI63. Also, you scored MPP 14 out of distorted facts upon Chroma to NDC. And we've given customers personal information to Kelny GVG. This is Vodafone speaking. If we go to the BBC, global virus cases reach 8 million people. 8 million. This is what BBC is saying. That's just where I'll leave it. I won't even touch it. 8 million cases.
Yeah.
And over 400,000 people have died from COVID-19. Meanwhile, Trump ignores virus reality. That's what CNN is leading with. Let's get into the details.
Now,
guys.
Bernard, if you permit me, let me start from the Ghanaian Times and the Finder.
Okay.
Now, the Ghanaian Times, search for cure for COVID-19, Noguchi poised to develop vaccine. Now, the story says the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research has commenced processes in developing a vaccine for the coronavirus disease, which has spread among 213 countries and territories worldwide. According to the institute, it has started researching the characteristics of the virus in order to come up with a cure for the deadly COVID-19, which has affected over 11,000 Ghanaians. Now, if you check the Finder says boost for COVID-19 treatment, National Blast Service getting ready to help. Now, the story says the National Blast Service has announced that Ghana is ready to prepare convalescent plasma from recovered COVID-19 patients for transfusion as an empirical treatment for persons in life-threatening stages. The intervention is based on research that patients who had recovered from the disease outbreaks such as COVID-19 had robust immune response to infections. The antibodies in the plasma of recovered patients could therefore be transfused to other COVID-19 patients to aid their recovery. And the CEO of the National Blood Service, Dr. Justin Ansah, has encouraged all recovered COVID-19 patients to step forward and donate their plasma to save the lives of other patients in critical condition. But she says that all the needed machines to aid the collection and protocols are available, but they are waiting for funds to acquire the consumables to start. Let me repeat. All the needed machines to aid the collections and protocols are available, but they are waiting for the funds to acquire the consumables to start. This is a clear example of a temporary opportunity that we must move with speed as a country.
Let me give you
to deal with
related stories. Komfanochi Hospital Intensive Care Unit to operate at half capacity. This is myjournalline.com. The ICU of Komfanochi is to operate at half capacity for the next 14 days. This is because most of its ICU doctors and nurses have been exposed to trauma patients who have tested positive for COVID-19. A memo dated June 12, intercepted by Love News, said most of our intensive care ICU doctors and nurses got exposed to polytrauma patients on admission in the ICU who tested positive for COVID-19. The risk assessment put most of them at high risk exposure and have to self-quarantine for 14 days. In view of this, an urgent management meeting was held and the duty roster of the remaining staff had been modified, the memo said. Now, on COVID-19 numbers, Occupy Ghana says that our death figures are being massaged.
Hey.
The story says pressure group Occupy Ghana, this is CitiNewsroom.com, suspects that government is underreporting Ghana's COVID-19 death toll. According to the group, officials of government in charge of the management of COVID-19 information have not been truthful with Ghanaians in that regard. In a statement issued on Monday, June 15, the group said the reported 54 deaths so far cannot be right. Explaining its reasons for the claim, Occupy Ghana said even though 38 deaths have been reported from the Ashanti region alone, less than 20 of those deaths are included in the national count. There is cause to suspect that the death numbers are being massaged. The reported 54 deaths so far cannot be right, for instance, even though then it stated what I just read. Now, the case count is growing steadily by the day, about 200 to 300 new cases per day. At the last count, we had 7,652 confirmed active cases, even though the number could be higher. The total number of confirmed cases is 11,964. Occupy Ghana insisted that if the public suspects underreporting, there will be a loss of trust in the reporting system, and that will have consequences that will influence public behavioral responses. Then they go on to give a regional breakdown and calculate and show why they think that the figures are wrong.
A lot happening there.
So if you have 54 deaths, and Ashanti region alone has 38. They say less than 20 of the 38 have been added to the tally. So the total death should be nearing 70 something.
And you're hearing that in the Western region and other regions too, they've recorded cases of mortalities.
Well, still it's on COVID. Quickly, Health Minister discharged continuous treatment at home. This is GNA, and the story says Information Minister Kojo Ponkoma has announced that Health Minister Kweku Ajimamenu has been discharged from the University of Ghana Medical Center and is continuing treatment at home. Mr. Ponkoma, responding to a question from a journalist about the condition of the minister at a news conference on Monday, said he has spoken to Mr. Ajimamenu, who told him he was responding to treatment at home. And then if there's any more on COVID-19,
Quite a few.
yes.
Now, quite a few. Now, if you go to page 13 of the Daily Graphic, academic work begins
On
in
campus.
tertiary institutions. They went to a couple of schools across the country. Now, according to the Daily Graphic, when they visited some of the campuses between 9 a.m. and midday, it observed that only a handful of students had reported. Although some of the institutions had the no mask, no entry signs at the entrances, the facilities for the observation of the other preventive and safety protocols have been moved to the halls of residence, the administrative blocks, and the various departments. So you can get a copy of the Daily Graphic and check page 13. Now, if you go to page 20, also talks about domestic airlines making progress after the easing of restrictions. Domestic airline operators in the country have started recording a gradual surge in passenger traffic due to the easing of restrictions on movement to contain the spread of the coronavirus disease. Although the numbers have been increasing, the airline operator said the current passenger traffic was way low compared to the period before the country recorded its first COVID-19 case.
Now, the Times is giving us an idea of the universities and where they are at the moment with their academic calendar. They write that low turnout on first day as tertiary institutions reopen. And the Times says that the University of Ghana, Legon, some students were seen arriving at the various halls to resume academic work. Central University and Ghana Telecom University College say they took advantage of online learning and teaching, and they finished their academic calendar. Methodist University has recalled some students to use 6 weeks to finish, and other institutions, for example, the Koforidua Technical University says lecture started around 7 a.m. yesterday, and both lecturers and students were wearing nose masks. I'll give you one more story on health-related matters.
Yes.
There is good news for nurses and assistant preventive health professionals. Government gives clearance for recruitment of 8,076 nurses. Now, the story says the Ministry of Health has been giving clearance to employ 8,076 nurse assistant clinical and nurse assistant preventives to health institutions in the country. The nurses to be posted are those who completed in 2017 from various public health institutions, meaning they've been home for about 3 years. A statement signed by Deputy Finance Minister Abena Osei Asare. Most of the newspapers and the outlets wrote her name as Abena Osei Opare.
Okay, that's a misspelling.
Yes, it's Abena Osei Asare. And copy to the Ghanaian Times said the Ministry of Health is hereby granting financial clearance to enable the ministry.
Now, let me give you two registration quick things.
Okay.
So, on EC and NIA, Ghana card registration in Eastern Region to resume June 18. That's to day after tomorrow. National Education Authority will resume mass registration from the 18th to 27th June. The authority indicates that the issuance of Ghana cards, which began on Wednesday, June 10, 2020, at 5,635 registration centers across the country, will continue till Thursday, 18 June. Then EC to meet Parliament Special Budget Committee today as well, to keep an eye on that. Chairperson of Electoral Commission, Mrs. Jean Mensah, scheduled to appear before the Special Budget Committee of Parliament later today, June 16.
Well, the Daily Graphic is reporting on the same Ghana card issue that it's been very, very slow. People are not showing up to pick up the cards. And for example, as of midday last Saturday, only 2 people had showed up to collect their cards at the Rect Academy in the GA Central, out of the 160 cards on hand to be issued. Now, if you go to the Daily Statesman, it says that over 10 million Ghanaians within voting age to get a card, so you can get the paper for that particular story. And then also on the front page, you spoke about voter registration exercise.
Yes.
The Daily Graphic says that ahead of the voter registration exercise, 6 are ready, 3 oppose, and 1 decided, and that is with regards to the political parties.
Okay.
Now, on the NACOB issue, NACOB customs issue, that's the big story of the Chronicle. NACOB, which is now NACOC because they are now a commission, threatens to sue customs. Max Olofori says that the Narcotics Control Commission has threatened to sue the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority to compel the latter to produce intercepted substances suspected to be cocaine, which is in its custody. The public relations officer of the commission, Mr. Francis Opokuamoa, made the disclosure in an interview with the Chronicle yesterday. And according to him, NACOC is taking this step following the failure on the part of customs to hand over the parcels for testing and to commence investigations. In the same newspaper, Bernard, an issue that we followed.
But did you mention that GRA's response to NACOC was that the cocaine may have been swept away?
No.
So let me give you that. So the sector commander, so NACOC has accused GRA of mismanaging this cocaine situation. Now the sector commander of the Ghana Revenue Authority Customs Division, Majid Amandi, is of the view that the 100-gram suspected cocaine that mysteriously went missing may have been stolen by officials of NACOC or swept away. The DG of NACOC, Francis Tinkran, had earlier indicted customs officers who had refused to allow the transportation of the substance, which was concealed in a vehicle impounded by NACOC to Accra. But here's what it says. When they dropped the fuel tank, there was this false compartment under the vehicle containing various parcels in an amount of $200,000. After the inventory, as expected, NACOC wanted to bring the vehicle to Accra for investigation to start, but the customs officer refused. Now, Mr. Amadi, however, dismissed the explanation from the NACOC, saying that this statement was intended to discredit the customs officer's handling of the intercepted substances. It's my humble conclusion that there was a well-orchestrated plan intended to discredit the handling of intercepted narcotics by customs. And then it says that in their view, it is possible that the parcel could have dropped in the midst of the disorderliness of the examination process at the conference room and was swept away with the rubbish unnoticed, or even pilfered by any of the NACOC officers who handle the substance during examination.
Well,
when two state institutions argue like this,
yeah, we need
need a
police.
higher power
Yeah.
to go in to say, look, this is not the way to go about it, and let's bring some order.
It's not about order, brother. Somebody should be investigating these two.
Yeah, because it's become...
They can't investigate each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Now-
so Bernard, let me give you some serious business news. Let me take you to page 2 of the BNFT. Fears over early redemption on 15-year bonds heighten as Franklin Templeton, firm that subscribed to 95% of bonds, faces trouble overseas. A story by Thomas Moadingo says that Ghana could be forced into an early redemption of its 7 and 15-year bonds issued in March 2017 as Franklin Templeton, the company that bought about 95% of the assets, faces financial troubles in India. The US-based mutual firm, which bought Ghana's bonds at a rate of 19% and total coupon value of $2.25 billion, but in local currencies, winding up 6 debt funds that managed over $3 billion in the Asian country after struggling to meet clients' withdrawal requests. Now, we've had a gentleman called Dr. Jerry Monfant, who's an economist and global strategist, and he's questioning why a single firm could secure 95% of a sovereign bond. Now, if you go to page 3 of the BNFT as well, the woes of the nation's health sector seem to be deepening as the Pharmaceutical Manufacturers Association of Ghana and the Ghana Chamber of Pharmacy have written to the Ministry of Health, serving notice over their intention to halt the supply of drugs to healthcare facilities funded by the NHIA from July 1.
I'll give you just 3 headlines. Arrest NAM1, men's gold customers demand. That is in the new Crusading Guide. They say that NAM1 should be arrested immediately. Now, if you check page 4 of the Chronicle, land guard activities overwhelm Pram Police. You should read
Give me the
story.
details.
Now, the story says the swelling number of land guards and their assigned criminal activities at Pram are overwhelming the Ningo Pram District Police Command. And it goes on to talk about how lands are sometimes sold twice or 3 times, and families have engaged land guards to protect their lands, and the police command is overwhelmed. And there's another story, final one. MPP fulfills 14% of their 2016 manifesto promises. This is according to the NDC at an event yesterday, but the MPP has rubbished the claims. And the NDC listed a lot of the promises that they felt that the NPP could not fulfill, and NPP has responded.
And finally, the Ghana Securities Industry Association, which is a body of fund management firms, have appealed to the government to pay individual and institutional customers of defined savings and loans, finance houses and microfinance companies more in cash than the bond option that the receiver announced in April 2020. That's on the back page of the BNFT. You can get it and get details.
Now, if you want 2 stories to read this morning on your way to work, citinewsroom.com. I'll gladly say yes if Mahama asks me to be running Medis Zokovandapoi.
Chenche.
And then he also says Accra Mayor can't be blamed for flooding.
Chenche.
Powerful guy. That was the newspaper review. Coming up next is the City Business News. Stay with us.